program.
Welcome to Speedrunners, where our guest today is Alex Rochette, the world record holder in Donkey Kong Country 2 with the time of 39 minutes and 49 seconds.
Oh my god. I'm Alex, 24, from Quebec, Canada. I've been speedrunning ESL for almost 3 years now. Currently I have the world record.
What I like about speedrunning is just the fact that you constantly see yourself improving your times. It's really fun playing games that you enjoyed as a kid. The first time I got the world record, thanks guys, that was really surprising. I still cannot believe it. It is possible to beat my 39:49, but it's not going to be easy.
This is Speedrunners, a show dedicated to the fastest gamers in the world. The gamers who bend and sometimes break the rules of some of these classic games that we all know and that we all love. Our guest today is none other than the world record holder for Donkey Kong Country 2. It's Alex Rochette from Quebec, Canada. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you.
And how many tries did it take then before you actually set your first ever world record? Because that must have taken a lot of dedication.
Yeah, from the moment I picked the game up, learning it, running it, and then achieving my first world record, it took me about a year.
And how did you feel about your whole run today, about trying to beat a world record?
I'm feeling good. Everything is in place. I'm definitely feeling confident.
Now, throughout the show, we will dive into your best highlights from the run, of course, your potential world record run. I can't wait to dive into Donkey Kong Country 2, and hopefully we'll break some world records along the way.
Alright, rolling in. So for the first 2 worlds of this game, there's not a whole lot going on, except in this level coming up. There's a wrong warp. In my opinion, it's one of the easier wrong warps. I clashed those 2 beetles together with Diddy to mess around with the warp barrels. Nice.
How many wrong warps are there in total then?
There are 8 in the run, and they can save from 3 seconds to a minute.
And do you need to know all those wrong warps? Otherwise you just can't make a world record, for example.
If you want to challenge the world record, then yeah, all of those 8 wrong warps are required.
The story of Donkey Kong Country 2 revolves around Diddy Kong and his girlfriend Dixie Kong, who try to rescue Donkey Kong after he's abducted by King K. Rool. The game is set on Crocodile Isle, in which are there 8 worlds of varying environments totaling to 52 levels. Similar to its predecessor, the player characters can neutralize most enemies by jumping on their heads, cartwheeling through them, or throwing a barrel at them. It took you, what, less than 40 minutes to beat this game? How long would it take a normal skilled player like myself to complete this?
If you were to pick the game up and just do a run as is without like much experience or little experience, would maybe take you a couple hours, like around 2 hours, I would say would be a good time.
Okay, so you're beating it by about an hour and 20 minutes. Pretty solid. As we dive into the best highlights, it's going to be a journey for a new world record right after this.
So there's a good chance that I die in the upcoming 2 stages. They're amongst the most challenging levels in this game.
We'll be back with more ESL Speedrunners, classic games, crazy fast. Welcome back to Speedrunners, a show where we always chase for world records with the superstars of the speedrunning community. Let me get this first highlight right. The top sail trouble wrong warp.
You're right. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a pretty tight jump with the snake, get up there, grab this beetle,
clash it and get this invisible object, which I'm gonna throw in a really specific spot right here. Here's the first boss of this game, Crow, also the biggest instance of RNG. Every time he gives me a fake egg, as we call it, in those last two phases, I'm gonna lose a couple seconds. Oh, but I got none. Sometimes lucky.
Today, our guest, he flew from Quebec, Canada to Copenhagen, Denmark. His name is Alex Rochette. He is the world record holder in Donkey Kong Country 2, and in the community, he's actually known as Void.
Hello and welcome. I'm Alex, 24, from Quebec, Canada. This is my hometown. It's very rural. This is basically where I do my speed runs.
First time I played it was like 8 or 9. I maybe put in well over 3,000 hours.
Here's my CRT, my console here on the floor.
World record is really about having a good time in you like. For me, it's not really about like showing off. It's not my personality. Like, I don't really like to say that I'm the best. I just like to say that I'm like good at it.
This is the DK2 cards that I use. It's pretty beaten up, honestly, but it still does the job.
If somebody would beat my time, like that would be like a pretty motivating factor for me to come back. But like I would obviously be really happy about the person getting a good time and pushing the record even lower. That's more what it's about.
Let's check back in on Alex's speedrun as he enters level 1 of World 2.
Is another wrong warp here coming up? I'm gonna swap to Diddy to execute it. And the 2-1 jump as well, nice. 2-1 jump is a 2-frame trick, and in this case, it saved me a second and a half, roughly. So the way I was able to do this big boy here, it's also called, on a more technical term, team throw super jump. Basically, I was able to get an additional jump in midair when my Kong came back to me after throwing it on the enemy.
Why is it that you like breaking the game, though? Like, it's not how the game was intended. There's a lot of glitches that you've got to go through.
Yeah, well, the glitches make you go fast, and they actually, like, are pretty rewarding to execute, because they can prove to be quite difficult sometimes.
And to do these glitches, there's a lot of expressions that we've got to learn. And what are the key expressions throughout these crazy shenanigans?
Well, wrong warp is big one, as you can see here. I'm gonna take the warp barrel in this stage, but it's not gonna be as intended. I'm gonna be sent back to the overworld instead of going through the warp area where I'm normally supposed to go to.
Any other big expressions that we should be looking out for?
Big boy is another good one. It's different meaning of a team throw super jump, where I'm gonna do a second jump in midair to gain a lot more height than I'm supposed to.
Clearly, that can save you a lot of seconds.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Universe is actually quite old as well. I'm pretty sure it's older than both of us, to be honest, Alex. And the world first got to know Donkey Kong 36 years ago in 1981. And since then, the game universe has evolved into several other titles and sidekicks. In the early 90s, Nintendo shocked everyone when they agreed for the first time in their history to allow a third-party developer to reboot one of their iconic in-house properties, Donkey Kong. UK-based design studio Rare had been experimenting with advanced computer modeling on a groundbreaking system made by Silicon Graphics. Rare showed Nintendo some renderings that displayed major advances in 3D modeling, impressing Nintendo to the point that they let Rare lead the reimagining. Original game designer Shigeru Miyamoto provided a sketch of the stubborn gorilla wearing a tie, and what emerged became the Donkey Kong character that every video gamer of every age now knows and loves. Donkey Kong Country 2 went on to sell more than 5.1 million copies, becoming the 6th best-selling Super Nintendo game of all time. So we're going to jump on into the next highlight. It's of course called the Lava Fly.
What you have to do here, it saves like about 4 seconds if you get it, and it loses you about a minute if you fail. We call it Lava Fly.
what is it about Lava Fly then that makes it a difficult glitch to do?
It's not about its difficulty, it's more about the risk versus reward thing that's going on. Like, if you don't get the trick, like, your run is basically over.
Yeah, a little bit make or break. How was it discovered then, a glitch like this?
Most of the movement-based strats like this, they're found on the regular, I want to say, like people experimenting with the strats and stuff.
Now, your world record, we split that up into several different levels then. Of course, in speedrunning, you have different split times, but which level would you say is the hardest in your split?
I would say Crazy Kremlin, which is the fourth world. There are several difficult levels, tricks, wrong warps, as we talked about. A really strong middle point for...
Well, I can't wait to see you run all these different worlds, and I'm sure many people also appreciate the trip down memory lane. We'll be right back with an exclusive look at some of the fascinating highlights of world record holder attempts to beat his own speedrunning record all over again. So plenty of reason to stick around. Our guest today is none other than the world record holder for Donkey Kong Country 2 with a time of 39 minutes and 49 seconds. It's Alex Rochette from Quebec, Canada. Alex, you are going to walk us through how you would actually get to a world record. Now, I know the next highlight that we've got coming up was something that you fear as well in your run, but do you get a bit tense when you get to that
When
one?
I'm doing no reset runs, yeah, I kind of do. Like, I really care about getting the trick when it matters.
Well, let's see if you got nervous then. In the next highlight, the Bramble Scramble ROM warp, let's have a look at that one.
Then I'm going to beach an invisibility barrel so that I'm able to grab Beetle and then clash it on the vines to get an invisible object. That was perfect.
To me, that looks fairly standard. I mean, it doesn't look like there was any sort of glitch there. Talk me through it. Something crazy must have happened at the end.
Yeah, exactly. What I did was get an invisible object using the beetle to clash it on the vine, and then use that invisible object to move the bonus barrel where it was behind me to me, and I jumped into the bonus barrel and cut properties that a wrong warp gives you. You get sent to the overworld with the level being completed.
And you say invisible object. I mean, like, how do you know it's there if it's an invisible object?
You're not holding anything.
Okay, so do you know what the object should look like?
No. Invisible.
Alex is well on his way here, and the timer's looking relatively good at this point, quite promising. And remember, we're not watching my neighbour play this game, for old time's sake. This is the Michael Phelps, the Kobe Bryant of speedrunning, Alex Rochette, attempting to break his own record on Donkey Kong Country 2. However, he wasn't the first to walk this path. In fact, the journey began a bit before he entered the game. The first notable speedrun of Donkey Kong Country 2 is RPC's 44-minute run from 2013. This run was not perfect at all, with many sections that today would be considered slow. But at this time, just doing a speedrun of this quite complicated platformer was impressive.
Like plus 25, oh, that's about right.
Actually, the run was beaten by Cruncher a few months later. Even though he died once during his run, in 2014, a new wrong warp was discovered, the Bramble Scramble wrong warp, which saved about a minute and thereby became the most time-saving wrong warp in the game. The trick spiked the interest for speedrunning the game, and the record changed many times in this period. In the end, Reflected proved to be the fastest, with this 40-minute, 39-second run done in September 2014. This record stood for the next couple of years, until DG's beat a couple of seconds in February 2017, only for our guest today in the studio, Void, to pop in shortly after and steal the record, improving it by an impressive 40 seconds. Void's run didn't have any new warps, but it was as close to perfection as it could get. So Alex, were there any of these players then that you looked up to, like as an icon when you first started speedrunning?
Yeah, back in the second half of 2014, there was Quad and Reflected that were going back and forth for a world record back then because the Bramble Scramble Wrong Warp got discovered, and watching them go back and forth really motivated me to pick the game up and maybe like try and get good at it.
How tight is the community then of speedrunning? I mean, specifically Donkey Kong 2, but in general, do you know a lot of people?
Yeah, because I run a lot of games aside from the Donkey Kong Country games, and once you're around in the community, like, for a while, like, people start to know you, people, like, recognize your name, recognize your achievements, and, yeah, like, people are really friendly in the speedrunning community, and I quite like that. So there's a good chance that I die in the upcoming 2 stages. They're amongst the most challenging levels in this game. This boss fight is actually pretty annoying. Something goes wrong, then probably everything is gonna go wrong in this fight.
Why is it Donkey Kong Country 2? Why not Donkey Kong Country 1?
Because 2 is better. It was just complete improvement over DKC 1 and like that.
There's some shots fired there. There must be that nice competitive vibe.
The skills you get from speedrunning one of the Donkey Kong games, like they transfer over from the other 2, so like it's not uncommon for like some players to get good at one game and then pick up the other 2 and just like maybe end up doing some trilogy runs. Yeah, I only lost 4 seconds over my PB on this Wolf 4.
With that boss defeated, Alex has completed over half the game in under 22 minutes. Now he moves on to an even harder world, K. Rool's Keep.
This is the biggest trick in the game, or I should say the most significant trick in the game. So I'm just gonna drop the barrel inside the wall and then take damage on the next spiny. And there we go.
Alright, so how hard is this glitch to execute then?
Specifically this glitch, the Castle Crush skip, it's actually super easy. For how much time you save executing it, which is 3 minutes, I would sit down with you for like 10 minutes, show it to you, and you would be able to get it.
And is it the most important glitch there is for skipping time?
It is the most important glitch in the game in terms of time saves, yes.
I think it's about time, Alex, that we actually see if you did beat that world record. Welcome to Speedrunners, where today we have Alex Rochette, aka Void, in our studios, and you are the world record holder for Donkey Kong Country 2, and hopefully you'll improve your world record again today. Now, it is a very impressive time, 39 minutes and 49 seconds, so let's dive on into your highlights then. Let's see if you can actually beat that world record of yours.
So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna fly over Screech himself and skip the trigger to the race, and it's gonna save me 2 to 3 seconds. It's not that difficult, but when you're on pace and your hands are shaking, it can prove to be quite challenging. And there you go.
So this glitch called, or the race skip, this highlight is called. Why is it called the race skip?
Normally, the gimmick of this level is to race Screech, and you have to beat him to finish the level himself. If you skip the race, then you don't have the pressure of racing Screech. And not only it's faster, but it's also like useful in that regard.
How nervous were you in this run then? Your hands, were they shaking a little bit?
Not really, but like when I'm on like serious pace, world record pace, it happened to me like often that I missed the skip.
Just because of the hands shaking?
Yeah.
You hate to see that, but I think it's about time, Alex, that we actually reveal your time, and let's see if you did beat that world record of yours.
Really happy about that.
So you didn't beat the world record, but a solid
Pretty okay run, yeah.
Pretty okay run. What did you think about it overall then as a run?
Outside from fumbles that happened in World 3, which is I'm pretty happy about it. Coming out this level, this wrong warp is actually pretty recent, and it works differently than all the other wrong warps that I did so far. And it has to do with this Cutlass right here. I'm gonna bait him over. Throw my girlfriend, and somehow it didn't work, but that's okay.
And the fumbles that you spoke of, I mean, how detrimental were they to the speedrun in general?
I would say like I lost about 40 quote-unquote free seconds that I should not have lost.
And if you hadn't have lost all that time, do you think maybe you could have like clinched that world record?
Potentially, I don't know.
Next then, if you were to beat your world record again, what is it that you need to improve to do so?
Better strats, better consistency, tighter gameplay.
Maybe we will see you break that world record again. Alex, thank you so much. And whatever happens, you're still a world record holder, so you can at least hold on to that. No one said it was easy, but I'm starting to wonder, will we ever see a new world record be set in this exact studio? Tune in next week, and maybe we'll find a new world record.